So, if you're a small business owner, you know this feeling, right? You pour all this time, all this effort into your content marketing, but you're just not seeing the results you want. It's, it's frustrating. But what if there was a clear, systematic way to make your content work for you every single time? That's exactly what we're going to break down today. Does this sound familiar? A post on Instagram over here, a blog post maybe over there, an email when you remember to send it. It honestly feels like you're just throwing spaghetti at the wall and hoping, praying something finally sticks. That random approach is totally exhausting, and let's be honest, it just doesn't work. But here's the good news. There is a much better way. It's time to move away from all that random chaos and into a real strategy, a structured, effective method that can literally turn your content into a growth engine for your business. And that system is called the SHINE method. It's a simple acronym, and each letter is a pillar for content that actually works. Strategic, human, intelligent, niche, and engagement. Think of this as our roadmap for the rest of this explainer, a way to create content that really connects and, converts. All right, first up is S for strategic planning. Think of it like this. You wouldn't just grab a bunch of random ingredients out of your fridge and hope you end up with a gourmet meal, right? The exact same thing goes for your content. A real strategy starts with knowing the exact problems your customers have so you can create content that actually solves them. A great way to frame this strategy is the 60-20-20 rule. A whopping 60% of your content should be purely educational. We're talking how-to guides, valuable tips, answers to questions your customers are secretly Googling at midnight. Only 20% should be for direct promotion. The big takeaway here? Be helpful first and a salesperson second. Next up, H for human connection. And this one is so important. At the end of the day, people don't connect with logos or faceless companies. They connect with other people. They want to hear your story, see the real faces behind the business, and just feel that your brand is authentic. And here's a super simple trick for this. It's called the coffee shop test. Before you post anything, just read it out loud. Seriously, does it sound like you talking to a friend over coffee, or does it sound like some corporate robot? If it's the robot, it's time for a rewrite. Here's a perfect example. On the left, you've got this corporate jargon. We leverage synergistic solutions to optimize customer outcomes. Who talks like that? Now look at the right. We help you get better results. See the difference? One is cold and confusing. The other is warm, clear, and human. That's what you're aiming for. Next is I for intelligent distribution. And this is all about working smarter, not harder. You do not need to be on every single social media platform out there. That is just a recipe for burnout. The real key is to figure out where your ideal customers actually hang out online and focus all your energy there. And to do this efficiently, you can use the 1-3-5 rule. It's brilliant. You start by creating one big, in-depth pillar piece of content, like a super comprehensive blog post. From that one post, you can repurpose it into 3 medium pieces, maybe like a summary video or a checklist, and from those, you create 5 little micro snips, like quotes for Twitter or graphics for Instagram. See? One big effort, tons of content. Okay, on to our next letter, N, which stands for niche authority. Here's a little secret about content marketing. It is so much better to be a huge fish in a tiny pond than a tiny little fish in the massive ocean. You have to stop trying to appeal to everyone. Instead, become the absolute go-to expert for a very specific group of people who have a very specific problem. For example, don't just offer tax advice. You'll be competing with, everyone. But what if you niche down and focused on tax strategies for food truck owners? Instantly, you become the undisputed expert for that audience. Always remember, narrow expertise trumps broad mediocrity every single time. And finally, we have E for engagement. And listen, this might be the most overlooked step, but it's arguably the most important one. Creating amazing content is only half the battle. Now you have to roll up your sleeves and make sure people actually see it. This right here should be a wake-up call for a lot of us. You should only be spending about 20% of your time creating the content.
The other 80%, yes, 80% of your time should be spent actively promoting it. That's where the real work happens and honestly where the real results come from.
So how in the world do you spend that 80% of your time? You follow the 5-touch strategy. For every single piece of content you create, make sure it gets at least 5 touches. You post it on your blog, feature it in your newsletter, share it across social media, drop a link in relevant industry forums, and maybe even send it directly to a few people you know would find it useful.
Okay, so theory is great, but the SHINE method is all about action. So here is your simple plan to get started over the next 30 days. No excuses, you can do this.
It's super simple, just 3 steps. First, pick one content bucket. Let's just say you focus on educational content to start. Second, create 3 focused pieces of content that solve a really specific problem for your niche audience. And third, for each of those pieces, promote it using that 5-touch strategy. That's it. Simple and totally manageable. And as you're getting started, just remember this. Consistency always beats perfection. Don't sit on your content waiting for it to be perfect, because let's be real, it's never going to be. Your audience needs helpful content from you regularly, not some imaginary perfect content occasionally. Getting something good out there is always better than keeping something perfect sitting in your draft.
So let's end with this. Right now, as we speak, your ideal customers are online. They're on Google, they're on social media, and they're searching for answers to their problems. So the question for you is, when they search, will it be your helpful, human, strategic content that they find? By following this method, you can make damn sure the answer is yes.